Korean natural farming, a centuries-old soil system quietly perfected by one man starting in the 1960s. A method so powerful, it can replace almost every synthetic fertilizer, every pesticide, every herbicide on the market. It costs almost nothing, and you can make it in your own backyard. So why haven't you heard of it? Because a $200 billion fertilizer industry has absolutely no reason to let this spread. And at its core is something even more surprising: indigenous microorganisms already living in your soil right now, just waiting to be activated. The man who walked the other way, it begins with one man, a farmer, who looked at modern agriculture and felt something was deeply wrong. Not out of stubbornness, but out of observation. He spent time in forests, undisturbed, untouched, unfarmed forests, and what he saw changed everything. No fertilizers were being added, no pesticides were being sprayed, no human was managing anything. Yet the trees were tall, the soil was dark and rich. The plants were strong, and the system sustained itself year after year, decade after decade. So he asked a question that most scientists weren't asking. What if the soil already knows what to do? What if we don't need to add anything, but simply stop destroying what's already there? He traveled. He studied, he experimented, and he combined ancient Korean fermentation techniques with deep soil biology. The same principles used to make kimchi, that fermented, living, centuries-old food, were now being applied to the ground beneath our feet. What he created was not just a farming method, it was a completely different relationship between humans and the earth. A system where the soil is not controlled but awakened. The hidden world you're standing on right now. Here's something that most people in America have never been told. Without rest, every single second. Bacteria, fungi, nematodes, protozoa. Together, they form a living network inside your soil. And this network, this is the real engine of plant growth. Not chemicals, not fertilizers, life, and natural forest. These microorganisms break down organic matter, release nutrients, expand root systems, and feed plants continuously. No factory required, no purchase needed. The forest feeds itself and has been doing so for millions of years, but modern farming disrupts this entire system. Synthetic fertilizers deliver nutrients fast and farmers see results. Big, fast, impressive results. That's why they keep buying. But underneath the surface, something else is happening. Those chemicals are slowly poisoning microbial life, season after season, year after year. And once these organisms are gone, the soil loses its ability to feed itself. It becomes dependent, like an addiction, each season needing more chemicals than before just to produce the same result. Sound familiar? It should. Because that's exactly how the fertilizer industry wants it. More dependency, more purchases, more profit. Korean natural farming breaks this cycle completely. Instead of feeding the plant directly, it feeds the soil, and the soil feeds the plant naturally, the way it was always meant to. At the center of this entire system are indigenous microorganisms, not lab-created, not imported from another country, but local life forms already perfectly adapted to your land, your climate, your specific conditions in your specific county, your specific state. Once activated, they multiply rapidly. They unlock trapped nutrients. They rebuild soil structure. They create an environment where plants thrive without any external push. The result is not just better crops. It is a living, breathing, self-sustaining system. The kind of system that existed long before any of us were born and can exist long after, if we let it. This is where it gets remarkable, because this knowledge is not locked behind a laboratory door. You don't need a degree. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need to fill out a form or wait for a government grant. You need cooked rice, plain white rice, no salt, no oil, no seasoning. Place it in a wooden or bamboo box, leave a small gap for airflow, and set it in a natural area, a forest floor, a garden corner, anywhere that hasn't been touched by chemicals. Then you wait. 3 to 5 days later, something appears, a white, thread-like layer covering the rice. Most people would throw this away without a second thought. But this is exactly what you want. These are indigenous microorganisms, captured directly from your local environment. Wild, local, perfectly suited for your soil in a way that nothing you can buy at a garden center ever could be. Now you feed them. Mix the rice culture with brown sugar in equal parts. This stabilizes the microorganisms and allows them to multiply without dying off. Store it in a jar. Let it ferment. Next, you expand the culture. Mix it into rice bran or natural soil and allow it to ferment further. Watch what happens. The microbial population explodes, millions become billions. Finally, you return it to your soil diluted in water, applied gently, like returning something that was always meant to be there, because it was. And from this moment, the soil begins to heal itself, quietly, naturally, without any further input from you. This is the part that's hard for most modern farmers to accept, because we've been trained to believe that more input equals more output, more product, more application, more management. But Korean natural farming asks you to do something radically different. Trust the earth, give it back what it had, step out of the way, and watch what it does, the truth behind the silence. So if this works, and it does, why isn't every American farmer using it right now? The answer is not complicated. The global fertilizer industry is worth over $200 billion. That's not a number that exists because the industry is doing farmers a favor. That number exists because the industry has built an entire economic system around keeping farmers dependent. You buy fertilizer, your soil weakens, you buy more, year after year, season after season. Because once the soil's biology is destroyed, there is no quick fix, there is no shortcut back. It takes years to rebuild what chemicals destroy in a single season. And during those years, the industry is still selling. That is not an accident. Korean natural farming removes you from that cycle entirely. No recurring cost, no supply chain, no middlemen, no corporate dependency, just soil returning to life on its own terms. This is not a conspiracy theory. No one is hiding this method in a vault. There is simply no financial incentive to promote something that makes people stop buying. Without marketing, without billion-dollar ad campaigns, without lobbyists pushing it into agricultural policy, most people never encounter it. Until now. The knowledge is not patented. It is not owned. It cannot be bought or sold or locked away. It is sitting in the soil outside your door right now. Waiting. Farmers across Asia have used versions of this for generations. Small-scale growers in Hawaii have used it for decades. And slowly, quietly, it's spreading not because of advertising, but because it works, and people talk. The most powerful thing you can do right now costs you nothing. Go outside, look at your soil. Understand that there is an entire living civilization beneath your feet, and that your only job is to stop killing it. Start with a handful of rice, give it 3 days, and let what's already there do the rest, because the most powerful farming revolution in the world doesn't start in a lab. It doesn't start with a government program or a corporate partnership or a new product launch. It starts in your backyard, and it starts today.